Hey guys, Game Off Grid here. Today Sony finally released the list of games for the PlayStation Classic. Today we're going to sit down, tell you the games that are on it, and give you our thoughts.
We're also going to be drinking a beer by Founders Brewery. This is the Curmudgeon's Better Half. It's an ale brewed with molasses and aged in maple syrup bourbon barrels. Alright, here we go. Did Sony hit a home run with this list of games, or did they shit the bed? It's about time we find out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss an upload. And sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and stay tuned for this episode of Gaming Off the Grid. Alright, here we go. It was a big day for Sony as they announced the 20 games that are going to be on the PlayStation Classic.
And I was so excited when I read it, and then as I was reading the list, I kind of got disappointed. So let's just jump into the 20 games that are coming on this mini console.
Alright, the first game, Battle Arena Toshinden. It's a 3D fighter. It was early in the PlayStation life cycle. Cool Borders 2. It's about cool borders. No, really, it's a snowboarding game. Yeah,
it looks really sweet.
Yeah,
I've never played it.
Destruction Derby, like a demolition derby type game. Final Fantasy VII. Duh.
Yeah,
enough said.
Obviously.
Yes, Grand Theft Auto, the first one. Intelligent Cube. It's a weird three-dimensional puzzle game that is a lot of fun. Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, one of our all-time favorite games.
I was so excited when I saw Metal Gear Solid on there. I was like, oh, okay.
Mr. Driller. Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, a platforming classic.
Yes.
We have Rayman. We have Resident Evil, the director's cut, which is very exciting. Revelations Persona, Ridge Racer Type 4, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. This is like a block smash Tetris-y type game, but it's a fighting game. So it's very unique, it's a lot of fun, and it holds up very well today. Siphon Filter, Tekken 3, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Twisted Metal, and finally Wild Arms.
20 games on one mini console. Some of those are huge hitters, and some of those I don't think I'm ever gonna touch.
Like, what are the ones that you think hands down had to be on the PlayStation Classic?
Resident Evil Director's Cut, and I'm so excited to get this thing and play that game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really a game that defined the survival horror genre as we know it today. So it's definitely one that definitely needed to be on there. Metal Gear Solid, we mentioned that. It's one of those games that just had to be on the list. Tekken 3, Twisted Metal, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. This is one I wasn't thinking of, but I'm really happy it made the cut because it's a very unique game that I'm excited people are going to get a chance to play.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of it, but like looking at gameplay footage of it, it looks really sweet. I'm excited to sit down with it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Then we have Revelations Persona. I think this was a clutch selection by Sony because the Persona franchise has really turned into something big for them, and it's done very well lately. But in its early days, a lot of people haven't played those Persona games, so it's going to be a lot of fun to shed some light on the early days of what has been a great franchise.
And then I'm really excited for the original Grand Theft Auto. The third one is when it starts getting really good, but I'm just excited to go back to the roots of this series and experience that.
It's one of those games that hasn't aged the best, but if you can remove yourself from that and grasp that it's one of the first like true open world games on a console, it is a very cool thing to go back and play. Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, that's one of my all-time favorite platforming games. I love that game so much. I love the one that they reworked recently, just gave it a little spit shine, but having the original is really cool.
And then Rayman.
Yeah, it was a fairly good choice. It's a game that on the outskirts of maybe keep it, maybe not, but I'm okay that it's on here.
And then Siphon Filter. This is probably the game that has aged the worst out of these 20. But I'm still excited that it's on the collection.
Yeah, it's one of those games that when it came out back in the day, everybody wanted Siphon Filter. So it's kind of got to be on here, but it's really tough to play nowadays. And then wrapping things up with Ridge Racer Type 4, which is a great selection, but it does beg the question, which is going to get us into the next topic, about games that maybe didn't make the cut. So how does Ridge Racer 4 end up on the PlayStation Classic? It's a great game, but no Gran Turismo game that's on there.
Seriously, that is a staple title and nothing, no representation.
So we rattled off, I think it was 9 games there that we think need to stay. So in addition to Gran Turismo, no Crash Bandicoot.
No Spyro, which kind of makes sense because Sony is releasing the trilogy of Spyro in like the next couple weeks, which we're super excited for. So I get why they're not double dipping, But seriously, that is such a staple title.
So I really wanted Driver on here. That was a game, at least for me, that I remember almost like Siphon Filter and Metal Gear Solid that really defined the PlayStation was Driver 1 and 2. And then the one that's the glaring hole that I knew right away when you read through the game list, you probably shed a tear, is
Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Man, I don't know why it's not on here. It was in my prediction list. My hopes were high, and now they're destroyed.
The unfortunate part is it's probably the best game on the PlayStation 1.
It holds up the best out of the era, I think. It looks incredible still, and I don't know why it didn't make the cut. I know they put out a remastered version of it recently, so they might not be double dipping again like they did with Spyro, but seriously, this is a snapshot of the era, and it's not on there.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying about Spyro not double dipping and that, and maybe that's why Crash Bandicoot didn't make it on here as well. But to me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So expose someone to these games, and then maybe they would want to buy the remastered versions or the other versions on other consoles. I know you're probably right as far as that goes, but I don't understand that thinking by Sony. To continue our list, we already said Gran Turismo, Tomb Raider.
Oh, yes.
Tomb Raider, PlayStation, Tomb Raider. They were hand in hand back in the day. I'm not saying this game has aged the best, but there's got to be a Tomb Raider game on something called the PlayStation Classic. And then Silent Hill did not make the cut.
I know that you were kind of upset about that because in our announcement video for this, you were saying how Resident Evil gets all its attention and Silent Hill doesn't get much love.
And I don't have anything against Resident Evil being on here. I love the Resident Evil games. But over the years, Silent Hill has got lost in the shuffle. And, maybe a lot of that has to do with licensing. That could be why a lot of these games are on here.
A lot of people are really kind of upset, and people are canceling their pre-orders. So that makes me question, are we still excited for this?
Yeah, the thing is I don't know that there were any games that they selected that didn't deserve to be on this, but maybe there needed to be more games.
Yeah,
so
30 games.
Yeah.
40 games.
And if not, I grew up in this era. And when I think of Sony PlayStation, I think of the commercials with Crash Bandicoot approaching the Nintendo headquarters.
Calling out Mario.
Yes, I think about Spyro the Dragon, I think about Twisted Metal, I think about Metal Gear Solid, Siphon Filter, Gran Turismo, Driver, and that was the PlayStation. And to not have all of that on here is the part that bothers me, because not that I have a big niche in the gaming community, but I like the history of video games, and I like how Nintendo, I feel like the NES Classic, the Super Nintendo Classic, are a great snapshot that I feel like if I showed an 8 or 9-year-old kid, this was the Nintendo. They have a good start of what it was like with both of those. I don't really feel that way about this. I think there's some games on this list that could lose them. It kind of feels like that greatest hits album, that of one of your favorite bands that ends up with like 10 songs on it, and you're like, this is kind of a shitty greatest hits album.
Yeah, it's like all like their radio hits or like songs that...
It's still okay.
It's okay, but it's like these aren't their best songs.
Yes.
This is the same thing. And it's like, there's a couple songs or games on here that we like or that we're excited for, but other than that, it's the greatest hits.
And then we were talking earlier today, there's no goddamn shmups on this.
Yeah.
The PlayStation was a great shmup machine. Maybe not as good as the Sega Saturn, but there were some great games. We were really hoping for R-Type Delta. However,
this is when things get interesting.
Yes, the Japanese version allegedly has different games. I know that it has Gradius Gaiden on it. It has one of the Darius games on it. And there's some other RPGs. It's a different games list. About 10 of them are the same, I think, roughly, but it differs. The PAL version of the system is the same, but been texting with a buddy back and forth all day long. We're trying to get a pre-order in for a Japanese version of this because I kind of feel like the Japanese version is the way to go.
Yeah, but getting a Japanese version, how is that even possible? It might not.
There's ways. But
I don't know if we're going to be able to get it when this one comes out.
No.
I think we're going to have to be patient and wait, but I do think the Japanese version has a lot more to offer, at least on games that we liked.
Yeah, absolutely. Initially, middle of the road here. I'm not gonna say that Sony shit the bed completely, but they ripped a good couple of farts in the sheets.
And then they stink.
Yeah, it's just mediocre at best, which makes me want to talk about something else. So let's jump in and talk about this beer by Founders, a brewery that typically steers us in the right direction.
Yes, Founders is so good and they know what they're doing, and they delivered with this. It is so good. It has that sweet flavor of like the molasses and the maple syrup coming through, but it's also like kind of heavy. It's really enjoyable.
It's very segmented out. You can taste all the aspects of this beer. It kind of reminds me of a good Scottish ale. It has just a lot of those same components, but you know, I can tell on the finish, barrel-aged beer. Right on the front, I can taste that molasses.
Yeah, the rich.
And the richness of it. It's one of those beers, one or two of them, probably going to be okay. It comes in at 12.7% alcohol, but it does not taste that way.
It does not have an alcohol burn or anything,
No.
but I mean, it does have that barrel feel.
It does, but I was guessing 8. I was guessing in the 8 range.
Yeah, 12, that is so high.
Yeah.
But it's Founders, and most of their beers are higher percentages, but they're so good. I just know when I buy something from Founders, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, you know, maybe not every single time having our mind blown, but they deliver time and time again, and this is an absolute gem. Curmudgeon's better half. You gotta get out and try this freaking beer because it is delicious. It's probably, we were on a bit of a dry spell during the Tales from the Grid series. This is probably the best beer we've had on the channel in at least a month or two.
Yeah, in a while, which makes me so excited. Too bad the PlayStation Classic didn't equal this excitement level.
I'm still gonna get this thing day one. You are too.
We have it pre-ordered,
Yes.
and we're not gonna cancel our pre-order. We're still excited for it, and there's so many games that I'm excited to play. But like I said earlier, there's games I'm probably never gonna touch.
Well, and for me, it's not an issue of like, oh, this game's horrible. Like, yes, I'll play Cool Borders too. That's an awesome game. But how the hell does that make it on here and no Crash Bandicoot or Spyro? I don't understand that way of thinking. So it's not that it's a bad list of games, and I don't want to turn anybody away from picking this up. It makes me wonder what else Sony has planned for this. Is this a one-off? Are they going to release a second version that maybe has DualShock controllers?
That'd be really
different
sweet.
list of games.
And that would offer, there's so many games for the PS1 that have that DualShock ability.
Yeah, so it unlocks a whole other
another ball game.
Yeah.
And that would be so cool to just have 2 PlayStation Minis.
Yeah. And maybe they make that second one look like the PS1, the smaller version.
Smaller version.
Yeah. Or is it going to be expandable in any way other than obviously hacking it, which I know a lot of people will probably do. I just don't know. I don't quite know what they were thinking with some of these selections, but I'm still excited for it. Been with Sony since the PlayStation 1. That's not going to change anytime soon. But I was really hoping for the ultimate greatest hits album with this thing. I felt like they were really going to go for Nintendo's throat in the classic plug-and-play console scene and just really try ripping it out. And they really limped into this party. They're dancing with a limp leg. Alright, there you have it. That is our impression of the PlayStation Classic. Make sure you drop a comment below and let us know what your thoughts are. Did Sony let a great opportunity slip through their fingers with the PlayStation Classic? As always, thanks for tuning in and subscribing to the channel. Keep gaming, keep drinking. We'll see you next time on Gaming Off the Grid.
Hey guys, Game Off Grid here. Today Sony finally Hey guys, Game Off Grid here, and today Sony finally PlayStation.
We're also going to be drinking a beer by Founders Brewery. This is the Curmudgeon's Better Half. It's an ale.
Fuck. Hey guys, Game Off Grid here, and today Sony finally released. Yep, that was the right word.
We're also going to be drinking a beer by Founders Brewery. This is the Curmudgeon's.
So today we're gonna sit down, tell you the game.
Stay tuned, or we're going to let you know. Keep gaming. No.
Bye bye.